This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, students. Last class, I explained the linear momentum of water flow in open channels. So far, we discussed in open channels the specific energy and critical depth in Unit 1. In Unit 2, we have the another important concept, the specific force concept. To discuss that specific force concept, first of all, we must discuss the linear momentum of water flow in open channels. By using this linear momentum, we can easily understand the specific force of water flow in open channels. So last class, I explained this linear momentum of water flow in open channels. We know that when the body is in moving condition with some velocity, then that moving body is having linear momentum. The linear momentum of moving body is equal to mass of the body into velocity of body. Similarly, in open channels, the water is in moving condition, flowing condition. Since the water is in moving condition in open channel, that moving water in open channel is having the linear momentum. So first, I am going to explain what is that linear momentum of moving water in open channels. So go through this slide on your cell phones. So to discuss this linear momentum, we consider the water flow in the open channel. Let V is the mean velocity of water flow in the open channel. M is the mass of water flow in the open channel. Then this water flow in the open channel is having the linear momentum that is equal to mass into velocity. The linear momentum indicated by capital P. The linear momentum of flowing water in the open channel is equal to mass of water into mean velocity of water, m into v. Now find out this mass of water. To find out this mass of water, let A is the wetted area of water flow in the channel, L is the length of water flow in the channel. Then the volume of water flow in the channel is area into length. If rho is the density of water, rho is the density. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. Rho density is equal to mass by volume. So the mass of water flow in the open channel m is equal to density into volume. Density is rho, volume is area into length. Substitute this mass in this equation, you will get the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel is equal to rho Al into V. This is the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel. Rho is density of water. Water is having the density and also unit weight. Water is having the property of density and also the unit weight. Density of water is rho. Unit weight of water is small w. The unit weight of water is equal to density into acceleration due to gravity, rho into z. The unit weight of water, it is also called the specific weight. The unit weight of water, W is equal to density rho into acceleration due to gravity. From that, the density rho is equal to unit weight of water divided by acceleration due to gravity. Rho is equal to W by Z. So, in this linear momentum, P is equal to rho Al into V. I am replacing the density rho as unit weight divided by acceleration due to gravity. So check this. Here W is the unit weight of water. So the density of water rho is equal to unit weight by acceleration due to gravity. So in this equation, substitute this density rho is equal to unit weight by acceleration due to gravity, then this linear momentum P is equal to W A L V divided by Z. That is the equation of this linear momentum. Now find out the linear momentum of this water flow per unit time. So please check this equation. The linear momentum P is equal to rho AL into V. It is also equal to W AL into V by Z. W is the unit weight. This is the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel. By using this linear momentum, find out the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel per unit time. So check this step carefully. I explained this linear momentum of water flow in the open channel. P is equal to W AL into V by Z. This is W AL V by Z is the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel. Now I am calculating the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel per unit time. Because of this per unit time, divide this linear momentum with the time. So that is like this. So check this equation. If I consider W AL V by Z only, it is the linear momentum of water flow. Only this part. W AL V by Z is the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel. If I divide that with time, I will get the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel per unit time. So in the open channel, the linear momentum of water flow per unit time is equal to W A L V by Z into time. Length by time is velocity. L by V. L is length, time. Length by time is velocity. So this equation changes as W unit weight of water into A wetted area into length by time is V into another V by Z. So this is the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel per unit time. We know that wetted area into velocity is the discharge Q. So the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel per unit time is equal to unit weight of water W into discharge Q into velocity V divided by Z. This is the equation for this linear momentum of water flow per unit time in the open channel. Please everyone keep in mind, the linear momentum of water flow per unit time is also known as the rate of linear momentum. So that is the rate of linear momentum is equal to the linear momentum of water flow per unit time. Because of this per unit time, due to this per unit time, we call this entire linear momentum of water flow per unit time as the rate of linear momentum of water flow in the open channel. So this is the linear momentum of water flow per unit time is also known as the rate of linear momentum of water flow in the open channel, that is equal to unit weight of water W discharge Q into velocity V by Z. So this rate of linear momentum of water flow in the open channel P is equal to W Q V by Z, and you know this V is velocity. Velocity V is equal to discharge by area. So here I can write Q by A. Then this equation becomes as W Q square by ZA. Both are same. W Q square by ZA or W Q V by Z. These two are same. Only the modification is velocity V is written as discharge by area. So check this P everyone please. This P is the linear momentum of water flow per unit time. It is also called the rate of linear momentum of water flow in the channel. In order to understand the further concept in the momentum of water flow, please everyone keep this equation or note down this equation in the notes. When water is flowing in the open channel, the linear momentum of water flow per unit time, it is also called the rate of linear momentum of water flow in the open channel, that is equal to P, that is equal to W Q V by Z. It is also equal to W Q square by 2Z. W is the unit weight of water, Q is the discharge of water flow, V is the mean velocity, A is the wetted area, G is the acceleration due to gravity. That is the equation of the rate of linear momentum of water flow in the open channel. Now, to understand the specific force of water flow in the open channel, to understand the specific force of water flow in the open channel, I am applying the Newton's second law for the water flow in open channel. Newton's second law. We are applying the Newton's second law for the water flow in open channel. According to Newton's second law, the rate of change of linear momentum is equal to, not per unit area, it is unit time. Just now I explained the linear momentum per unit time, not per unit area. Unit time means divide the linear momentum with time. That is the linear momentum of water flow per unit time. If I divide the linear momentum with the time, I will get the linear momentum of water flow with time. That is per unit time. So in this specific force, I explained the linear momentum of water flow per unit time. I explained this linear momentum of water flow alone. Linear momentum of only water flow without this time per unit time is W AL into V by Z. But the linear momentum of water flow per unit time is W AL V by Z into time. Because of this per unit time, you will get the time in the denominator. Without this time, if there is no time in the denominator, we have only WAL V by Z, that is called the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel, WAL V by Z. But I am calculating the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel per unit time. Since I consider this unit time per unit time, divide this linear momentum with time. So that is WAL V by Z into time. Length by time is velocity V. So the linear momentum of water flow per unit time is WA V into V by Z. Wetted area into velocity is discharge Q. So the linear momentum of water flow per unit time is W Q V by Z. We call this the linear momentum of water flow per unit time also as the rate of linear momentum of water flow. So the rate of linear momentum of water flow in the open channel is equal to W QV by Z. Velocity V is equal to discharge by area. So this equation changes as W Q square by ZA. That is the linear momentum of water flow in the open channel per unit time, not per unit area. Now coming to the further concept, to understand the specific force of water flow in the open channel, we are using the Newton's second law for water flow in open channel. By applying this Newton's second law, you can understand the specific force of water flow in the open channel. What is the Newton's second law? According to Newton's second law, the rate of change of linear momentum of a moving body is equal to the resultant of all forces acting on the body. That is the Newton's second law statement. Rate of change of linear momentum of a moving body is equal to the resultant of all forces acting on the body. Apply that Newton's second law for the water flow in open channel. In this open channel water flow, the Newton's second law is the rate of change of linear momentum of the body of water flow in the open channel is equal to the resultant of all forces acting on that body of water flow. That is the Newton's second law for the water flow in open channel. To apply this Newton's second law for the water flow in open channels, I consider the portion of channel L length between the section 1 and section 2. I consider the water flow in the open channel. In that open channel, I consider the small portion of open channel between the section 1 and section 2 of length L. Everyone go through this diagram on the cell phones. I am going to apply the Newton's second law for the water flow in the open channel. From this application of Newton's second law, we can understand the specific force in open channels. To apply that Newton's second law for water flow in open channel, we consider the open channel water flow between the section 1 and section 2 in the channel. L is the length of open channel between the section 1 and section 2. At section 1, the depth of flow is y1. At section 2, depth of flow is y2. At section 1, velocity is v1. At section 2, velocity is v2. At section 1, this is the vertical plane. At section 1, on this vertical plane, the flowing water applies this hydrostatic pressure. The hydrostatic pressure is a triangular distribution. So check this hydrostatic pressure distribution on the vertical plane at section 1. Similarly, at section 2, on this vertical plane, the flowing water applies the hydrostatic pressure distribution. To discuss the Newton's second law for the water flow in open channel, we consider the portion of the open channel between the section 1 and section 2. At section 1, y1 is the depth of flow. At section 2, y2 is the depth of flow. At section 1, v1 is the velocity. At section 2, v2 is the velocity. Okay. The discharge of this water flow is Q. The discharge of water flow in the channel is Q. At section 1, on this vertical plane, this is the hydrostatic pressure distribution. At section 2, on the vertical plane, this is the hydrostatic pressure distribution. Let the channel bottom with horizontal, making the angle theta. Between the section 1, section 2, take this weight of the water body as W. W is the weight of water between the section 1 and section 2. Keep in mind the water is flowing. Since water is flowing at section 1, the water is having the linear momentum per unit time. That is also called the rate of linear momentum. At section 1, the water is flowing condition. Because of that flowing at section 1, the water has the linear momentum per unit time. Just now I explained. The linear momentum per unit time is also called the rate of linear momentum. We discussed the equation, the rate of linear momentum, unit weight of water W, discharge Q, velocity V divided by Z. It is also equal to unit weight of water W into Q square by ZA. Now at section 1 in the diagram, the water is in flowing condition. V1 is the velocity of water. Q is the discharge of water at section 1. So the rate of linear momentum of water flow at section 1, take it as P1. At section 1, take the rate of linear momentum of water flow as P1. That P1 is equal to W, unit weight of water, into discharge Q into velocity V1 divided by Z. That is the rate of linear momentum of water flow at section 1. Coming to section 2. At section 2 also the water is in flowing condition. So at section 2 also the water has the rate of linear momentum. That is nothing but linear momentum per unit time. Take P2 as the rate of linear momentum of water flow at section 2. What is the discharge at section 2? Q. What is the velocity at section 2? V2. So at section 2, the rate of linear momentum of water flow P2 is equal to W, that is unit weight of water, into Q, discharge, into velocity V2 divided by Z. So at section 1, the rate of linear momentum P1 is equal to W Q V1 by Z. Whereas at section 2, the rate of linear momentum P2 is equal to W Q V2 by Z. Then look at the diagram. This capital W is the weight of water. So please check the diagram. Capital W is the weight of water. Small w is the unit weight of water. Capital W is the total weight of water. Between the section 1 and section 2, take that total weight of water as capital W. Since this channel bottom with horizontal making the angle theta, we can resolve this total weight into a component in the direction of water flow. This is the component of the weight of water in the direction of water flow, that is equal to W sin theta. I explained this component in unit 1. The weight of water is resolved into a component in the direction of water flow. That component is W sin theta. Then coming to the diagram, at section 1, this is the vertical plane. The flowing water applies the hydrostatic pressure at section 1. Due to this hydrostatic pressure, the vertical plane at section 1 subjected to hydrostatic force F1. At section 1, this vertical plane, due to flowing water, subjected to hydrostatic force F1. F1 is in the direction of water flow. Similarly, at section 2, the vertical plane, due to flowing water, subjected to hydrostatic pressure distribution. This is the hydrostatic pressure distribution at section 2. Then at section 2, this vertical plane, because of this hydrostatic pressure distribution, the vertical plane at section 2 subjected to the hydrostatic force F2. This is the hydrostatic force acting on this vertical plane at section 2. The direction of F2 opposite to direction of the water flow. Then at channel bottom, due to friction, the frictional force is acting on the water flow. Direction of this frictional force is opposite to direction of this water flow. So check out the forces acting on the water between the section 1 and section 2. The different forces acting on this water between section 1 and section 2. First one is at section 1, the hydrostatic force F1 acting on this vertical plane. Then the weight component W sin theta acting on this water. At section 2, on the vertical plane, the hydrostatic force F2 acting on the water. opposite to direction of flow. Then the last one is the frictional force. So this flowing water between the section 1 and section 2, the flowing water subjected to 4 forces. F1 in the direction of flow, W sin theta in the direction of flow, F2 opposite to direction of flow, friction force opposite to direction of flow. 4 forces acting on this water between the section 1 and section 2. Just now I explained at section 1, the rate of linear momentum of water flow is P1, that is equal to W unit weight of water into discharge Q into velocity V1 divided by Z. At section 2, the rate of linear momentum of water flow is P2. That P2 is equal to unit weight of water W into discharge Q into velocity V2 divided by acceleration due to gravity Z. So at section 2, the rate of linear momentum is P2. At section 1, the rate of linear momentum is P1. Now, between the section 1 and section 2, the change of rate of linear momentum of water flow. What is the rate of linear momentum at section 2? P2. What is the rate of linear momentum at section 1? P1. So, between the section 1 and section 2, the rate of change of linear momentum of water flow is P2 minus P1. Check this last step carefully. At section 2, the rate of linear momentum of water flow is P2. At section 1, the rate of linear momentum of water flow is P1. So, between the section 1, section 2, the rate of change of linear momentum is P2 minus P1. We know that the rate of linear momentum at section 2, P2 is equal to unit weight of water W, discharge Q into velocity V2 by Z. At section 1, the rate of linear momentum of water flow P1 is equal to unit weight of water W, discharge Q, velocity V1 by Z. This is the rate of change of linear momentum between the section 1 and section 2. According to Newton's second law, the rate of change of linear momentum is equal to the resultant of all these 4 forces. Resultant means in the direction of flow, take the force as positive. Opposite to direction of flow, take the force as negative. You will get the resultant of all these 4 forces. So in the diagram, the resultant force of F1, F2, W sin theta and friction force is given by this equation. F1 direction of water flow positive, F2 opposite to direction of water flow negative, W sin theta in the direction of water flow positive, friction force opposite to direction of water flow negative. So on the right hand side, this is the resultant force of all the 4 forces acting on this water between the section 1 and section 2. So in this diagram, we apply the Newton's second law. The rate of change of linear momentum between the section 1 and section 2, P2 minus P1 is equal to the resultant of all forces acting on the water between the section 1 and section 2. This is the Newton's second law equation. P2 minus P1, the rate of change of linear momentum of water flow between the section 1 and section 2 is equal to the resultant of all forces acting on the water between the section 1 and section 2. So check this equation, everyone. The equation of P2 WQ V2 by Z, the equation of P1 WQ V1 by Z is equal to the resultant of all forces acting on the water from section 1 to section 2. Now, I consider that equation as 1. This is the Newton's second law between the section 1 and section 2 in the open channel water flow. In this equation, Q is the discharge of water flow, W is the unit weight of water, V1 is the velocity of water flow at section 1, V2 is the velocity of water flow at section 2. You must focus on this force F1. F1 is the hydrostatic force acting on the vertical plane at section 1. And F2 is the hydrostatic force acting on the vertical plane at section 2. Capital W is the weight of water between the section 1 and section 2. And this F, small f, is the friction force acting on the water flow at channel bottom. Theta is the angle made by the channel bottom with horizontal. So this equation 1 is from the Newton's second law applied on the open channel water flow. Now, between the section 1 and section 2, the channel is a small portion of channel. Since this is a small portion of channel, it is not very bigger length, it is a small portion. Since it is a small portion, in this portion of channel, we can neglect this weight of the water. Because it is a small portion, the weight of water is small magnitude. So you can neglect this weight of water between the section 1 and section 2. Once you neglect this weight of water W sin theta is also neglected. So since this portion of channel from section 1 to section 2 is a small portion, neglect that weight of water in that section 1 and section 2. Similarly, neglect this friction force at the channel bottom because it is a small portion. So I am neglecting W sin theta force, I am neglecting the friction force. If these two forces are neglected, if I neglect these two forces, this equation becomes as, neglect this W sin theta and friction force, then this equation becomes as WQ V2 by Z minus WQ V1 by Z is equal to F1 minus F2, because we neglected W sin theta force and also friction force because this is a small length of the channel portion. So if I neglect this W sin theta and friction force on the right hand side, I have only F1 and F2. Everyone focus on this F1 force. F1 is the hydrostatic force acting on this vertical plane at section 1. In fluid mechanics, you might have studied the equation of the hydrostatic force on the vertical plane. If the vertical plane is submerged in the fluid, I hope you remember that equation. If the vertical plane is submerged in the fluid, from the top of the fluid surface, if the centroid of that vertical plane is at a distance of x bar, then if A is the area of that vertical plane, W is the unit weight of fluid, the hydrostatic force acting on that vertical plane, F is equal to WA into x bar. That is the equation of hydrostatic force acting on the vertical plane submerged in fluid. You might have studied this equation almost in unit 2 in fluid mechanics. In unit 2, you have that concept, determination of hydrostatic forces on the submerged bodies. In that, you studied the hydrostatic force on horizontal plane, WA into H, hydrostatic force on vertical plane, WA into x bar, hydrostatic force on curved planes. So from that fluid mechanics, I am going to calculate the hydrostatic force F1 on the vertical plane at section 1. Now look at the diagram at section 1. This is the channel shape. At section 1, this is the channel shape, and this is the water flow in that channel. This is the water flow. Let at section 1, this is the wetted area of the channel. So at section 1, we know this depth of flow is y1. So this is the shape of the channel at section 1. At section 1, this is the depth of flow y1. So at section 1, this is the wetted area. And at section 1, the vertical plane at section 1 subjected to hydrostatic force F1. From this top of the water surface, let the centroid of this vertical plane at section 1 is at a depth of Z1 bar. From this top of the water surface, let the centroid of this vertical plane at section 1 is at a depth of Z1 bar. What is the area? A1. What is the unit weight? W. What is the depth of the centroid? Z1 bar. So the magnitude of this hydrostatic force F1 at section 1 is equal to W, unit weight of water, into area A1 into Z1 bar. That is the equation of the hydrostatic force F1 on the vertical plane at section 1. I am using that fluid mechanics formula. At section 1, the hydrostatic force F1 is equal to unit weight of water W into area at section 1 A1 into the depth of the centroid of vertical plane at section 1, that is Z1 bar. Coming to section 2. At section 2, Y2 is the depth of flow. Say this is the channel shape at section 2. The depth of flow at section 2 is Y2. Let the wetted area at section 2 is A2. This is the vertical plane at section 2. From this water surface, let the centroid of this vertical plane at section 2 is at a distance of Z2 bar. So from this water surface, the centroid of the vertical plane at section 2 is at Z2 bar. So the hydrostatic force F2 at section 2 from the fluid mechanics, F2 is equal to W, unit weight of water, into area A2 into the depth of the centroid is Z2 bar. So at section 2, the hydrostatic force F2 is equal to W A2 Z2 bar. At section 1, the hydrostatic force F1 is equal to W A1 into Z2 bar. Remember, we neglected this W sin theta force and friction force. Now coming to this equation 1. In that equation 1, we neglected W sin theta and friction force. We know that this force F1 at section 1 is W A1 into Z1 bar. Dear students, please focus on this equation. Focus on this equation. I prepare this equation from fluid mechanics. The hydrostatic force on the vertical plane is equal to unit weight of water into area of the vertical plane into x bar. But here that x bar is Z1 bar. So F1 hydrostatic force at section 1 is W A1 into Z1 bar. If I bring this W to the left side, if I bring this W to the left side, it becomes as F1 by W, force by unit weight of water. So F1 by W is equal to A1 into Z1 bar. So please everyone listen this carefully. If I bring this unit weight W to the left side, it becomes as F1 by W, hydrostatic force divided by unit weight of water, that is equal to A1 into Z1 bar. Hydrostatic force divided by unit weight of water is called hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. F1 divided by W is called the hydrostatic force per unit weight of water, that is equal to A1 into Z1 bar. Similarly, hydrostatic force at section 2, F2 is equal to W A2 Z2 bar. If I bring this W to the left side, F2 by W is equal to A2 into Z2 bar. Here also F2 by W is called hydrostatic force per unit weight of water, that is equal to A2 into Z2 bar. A1, the area at section 1. Z1 bar, the distance of the centroid from the water surface at section 1. A2, the area at section 2. Z2 bar, the distance of the centroid from water surface at section 2. Substitute these two equations in this equation 2. Substitute F1 W A1 Z1 bar, F2 W A2 Z2 bar in the equation 2. Now that equation 2 becomes as. Now check that equation 2. In the equation 2, you can write this V2 as Q by A2. In the equation 2, I can write this V1 as Q by A1. F1 is equal to WA1 Z1 bar. F2 is equal to WA2 Z2 bar. Now the equation 2 changes as. So at section 1, V1 is equal to Q by A1. V2 is equal to Q by A2. So the equation 2 on the left hand side, in the equation 2, the first term left hand side W Q V2 by Z. But V2 is equal to Q by A2. That is the first term in the left hand side W Q V2 by Z. V2 is equal to Q by A2. Similarly, the second term on the left hand side W Q V1 by Z. V1 is Q by A1. So substitute V2 is equal to Q by A2. V1 is equal to Q by A1. F1 is equal to WA1 Z1 bar on the right side. F2 is equal to WA2 Z2 bar on the right side. Now check this entire equation. On this equation, on the left side we have W, unit weight of water. On the right side also we have W, unit weight of water in both terms. On the left side in both terms we have this unit weight of water. On the right side also in both terms we have this unit weight of water. Cancel this unit weight on both sides. Then simplify this equation. If I simplify this equation, the first term on the left side is Q square by GA2 because this W is cancelled. So on the left side, the first term Q square by GA2. The second term on the left side Q square by GA1. This Q into Q, Q square, G into A1, A G into A1. On the right side, W is cancelled. The first term on the right side is A1 into Z1 bar. The second term on the right side is A2 into Z2 bar. So from this equation, we will get this equation Q square by GA2 minus Q square by GA1 is equal to A1 Z1 bar minus A2 Z2 bar. Now bring this A2 Z2 bar to the left side. It becomes positive. Bring this minus A2 Z2 bar to the left side. Bring this minus Q square by GA1 to the right side. Then this equation becomes as Q square by GA2 plus A2 Z2 bar is equal to Q square by GA1 plus A1 Z1 bar, equation 3. So by applying Newton's second law, we got that equation 3. Please focus on this equation 3. How we got this equation 3? We got this equation 3 by applying Newton's second law for the open channel water flow between the section 1 and section 2. So by applying the Newton's second law for open channel water flow between the section 1 and section 2, finally we got that equation 3. What is that equation 3? Q square by GA2 plus A2 Z2 bar, that is at section 2. The left hand side is at section 2. Q squared by GA2. A2 is the area at section 2 plus A2 into Z2 bar, that is also at section 2, is equal to right hand side Q square by GA1. A1 is the area at section 1 plus A1 into Z1 bar, that is also section 1. So check that equation 3. On the left side, we have the section 2 parameters A2, Z2 bar, Q. On the right side, we have the section 1 parameters Q, A1, Z1 bar. Compare the terms on the both sides. The first terms are similar in the equation 3 on both sides. Q square by Ga2 left side, right side Q square by Ga1. Compare the second terms on both sides. Left side A2 Z2 bar, right side A1 Z1 bar. The equation 3 is somewhat similar to Bernoulli's equation. I hope you remember the Bernoulli's equation. Between the section 1 and section 2, the Bernoulli's equation Z1 plus Y1 plus V1 square by 2Z is equal to Z2 plus Y2 plus V square by V2 square by 2Z. That is the Bernoulli's equation between the section 1 and section 2. Please remember, you can write the Bernoulli's equation in the general form as the energy E is equal to Z plus Y plus V square by 2Z. That is the general form of Bernoulli's equation. Z is the potential energy per unit weight of water. Y is the pressure energy per unit weight of water. V square by 2Z is the kinetic energy per unit weight of water. So Bernoulli's equation, the total energy E per unit weight of water. E is called the total energy per unit weight of water. E is equal to Y Z plus Y plus V square by 2Z. If I apply that Bernoulli's equation at section 1, section 2, I will get that Bernoulli's equation as Y1 Z1 plus Y1 plus V1 square by 2Z is equal to Z2 plus Y2 plus V2 square by 2Z. Similarly, the equation 3 can be written in the same form of Bernoulli's equation. So the equation 3 same as Bernoulli's equation. In the equation 3, Q square by Za, Q square by Za. Please neglect this A2 first. Take this first term in this equation 3. It is Q square by Za on both sides. This Q square by Za is the water force. Q square by Za is the water force per unit weight of water in the open channel. Later I will explain how that Q square by Za is the force. So please check that equation 3. Q square by Za is the water force per unit weight of water in the open channel. Check A into Z bar, this second term. A into Z bar, both sides. A into Z bar. Just I explained few minutes back. Hydrostatic force F is equal to WA into X bar. From fluid mechanics, you know, hydrostatic force F is equal to W into A into X bar. If I bring that W to the left side, F by W is equal to A into X bar. F by W is called hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. So here this A into Z bar is the hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. A2 Z2 bar is the hydrostatic force per unit weight of water section 2. A1 Z1 bar is hydrostatic force per unit weight of water section 1. So check this equation 3 on the first term Q square by Za. Actually Q square by Za2 is the water force per unit weight of water at section 2. Q square by Za1 is the water force per unit weight of water at section 1. So in this equation, the first terms are the force per unit weight of water. The second terms are also the force per unit weight of water. These two terms, they represents A2 Z2 bar, A1 Z1 bar. Both represents the hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. The first terms on both sides, these first terms, these two terms, they also represents the force per unit weight of water. So the equation 3 can be summarized as Bernoulli's equation. Please remember the Bernoulli's equation. y1 z1 plus y1 plus v1 square by 2z is equal to z2 plus y2 plus v2 square by 2z. We summarize that equation, Bernoulli's equation, as E is equal to z plus y plus v square by 2z. We call that E as the energy per unit weight of water. Similarly, the equation 3 here, it is almost same as Bernoulli's equation. Almost same as Bernoulli's equation. So we can summarize this equation because the first terms on both sides, they represents the water force per unit weight of water. The second terms on both sides, they represents the hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. You can write this equation 3 similar to Bernoulli's equation as F is equal to, in the Bernoulli's equation, you write it as E, capital E. Whereas in the equation 3 here, I am writing it as F, small f is equal to. In the Bernoulli's equation, E is equal to Z plus Y plus V square by 2Z. Whereas from equation 3, the right hand side here is Q square by ZA plus AZ bar. So the equation 3 in this discussion is summarized as the Bernoulli's equation. I can write this equation 3 same as the Bernoulli's equation as F is equal to Q square by ZA plus AZ bar. Check this equation 4 here. Q square by ZA is the water force acting on the water flow per unit weight of water. I will explain few minutes later how this Q square by ZA is the water force. At present, please keep in mind Q square by ZA is the force acting on the water flow per unit weight of water. And you know this AZ bar is hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. Hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. So check these two terms on the right side. These two terms are representing the force per unit weight of water. The first term is force per unit weight of water. Second term is also the force per unit weight of water. This summation. The sum of these two terms in the open channel water flow, Q square by ZA plus AZ bar. The sum of these two terms in the open channel water flow is called the specific force of the water flow in open channel. Q square by ZA plus AZ bar. Q square by ZA is the force per unit weight of water. A into Z bar is also force per unit weight of water. So in open channel water flow, Q square by ZA plus AZ bar, the summation of those two forces per unit weight of water is called the specific force of the water flow in open channel. So in the open channel water flow, the equation of the specific force F is equal to Q square by ZA plus AZ bar. This is the equation for the specific force of water flow in the open channel. We got this equation 5 by using the Newton's second law of motion. So please recollect how we got that equation 5. First we apply the Newton's second law for the open channel water flow between the section 1 and section 2. By simplifying that Newton's second law equation, please remember P2 minus P1 is equal to F1 minus F2 plus W sin theta minus friction force. That is the Newton's second law for the open channel water flow between the section 1 and section 2. From that equation, by using number of modifications, we got this equation 5. In the open channel water flow, the specific force of water flow F is equal to Q square by ZA plus A Z bar. This is called the specific force. If I apply this equation 5 at section 1 and section 2, At section 1, this equation 5 becomes as q square by ZA1 plus A1 Z1 bar, that is F1. The specific force at section 1, same as Bernoulli's equation. At section 2, the equation 5 becomes as q square by GA2 plus A2 Z2 bar, that is the specific force at section 2 F2. So the equation 3 becomes as F1 is equal to F2. So the specific force at section 1 is equal to specific force at section 2. Just now I promised I will explain how this q square by ZA is the force per unit weight of water. So please everyone follow how this q square by ZA is the force per unit weight of water. You know this second term, because according to fluid mechanics, the hydrostatic force F is equal to W into A into X bar. The hydrostatic force F is equal to W, unit weight of water, into A into X bar. Bring the W to the left side. Hydrostatic force divided by unit weight of water is A into X bar. So this A into X bar is the hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. Hydrostatic force divided by unit weight of water, A into X bar. So this is hydrostatic force per unit weight of water. The problem is how this q square by ZA is the force per unit weight of water. So please everyone follow that q square by ZA calculations. Now coming to this calculation, just now I explained q square by ZA is the force per unit weight of water. Now I am going to explain that derivation, q square by ZA derivation. Now coming to this, the force acting on the water flow, take F is the force acting on the water flow, W is the unit weight of water. F is the force acting on the water flow, W is the unit weight of water. So F by W is called the force acting on the water flow per unit weight of water. Here F is force acting on the water flow, W is the unit weight of water. So F by W is called the force acting on the water flow per unit weight of water. So F by W is equal to, from Newton's second law, force F is equal to mass into acceleration. So check this numerator. Force F is equal to mass into acceleration. W is the unit weight of water. Now you know that from physics, acceleration A is equal to velocity by time. Acceleration A is equal to velocity by time. So this equation numerator, mass m into acceleration velocity v by time divided by unit weight of water W. So check this derivation please. I am explaining how this q square by ZA is the force acting on the water flow in the open channel per unit weight of water. So take F is the force acting on the water flow in the open channel, W is the unit weight of water. So F by W is called the force acting on the water flow in the open channel per unit weight. So F by W is equal to Newton's second law. F is equal to mass into acceleration divided by unit weight of water. Acceleration A is equal to velocity by time. So this equation becomes as mass into velocity by unit weight of water into time. We know that mass is equal to, in the today's class I explained the mass of water flow m is equal to density rho into area A into length L. This is the mass of water flow, rho density A into L into V divided by then the unit weight W into time. But you know that this density rho is equal to unit weight by acceleration due to gravity, this density. So this equation becomes as the unit weight W divided by acceleration due to gravity is E. This is the density rho into A, length A, area into length L into velocity V divided by the unit weight W into time. Just I modify this density as unit weight by acceleration due to gravity. Cancel this W. Once if I cancel this W, now this F by W. F by W is the force per unit weight of water. F by W becomes as, cancel this W. So this equation becomes as A, area into length L into velocity V divided by G into time. But you know that length by time is velocity. Length by time is velocity. So this equation becomes as A into velocity V into V divided by Z. But you know that velocity into area is discharge Q. So it is Q into velocity by Z. Velocity V is equal to discharge by area. So this equation becomes as Q square divided by ZA. So this Q square by ZA is equal to F by W. F by W is the force acting on the water flow per unit weight of water. So by using this calculation, we can prove that Q square by ZA represents the force acting on the water flow per unit weight of water. So in the equation 4, the first term represents the force acting on the water flow per unit weight of water, Q square by ZA. The second term also represents the hydrostatic force acting on the water flow per unit weight of water. So these two terms representing the forces per unit weight of water, the sum of these two terms, Q square by ZA plus AZ bar in the open channel flow is called the specific force. So in the open channel water flow, the specific force of water flow F is equal to Q square by ZA plus A into Z bar. So this is the concept of specific force in open channel water flow. So in order to explain this specific force, first I explain the linear momentum in the open channel flow. From that, I explain the linear momentum per unit time in the open channel flow. Then we apply the Newton's second law in open channel water flow between the section 1 and section 2. From that Newton's second law, we got that equation 5. The specific force of water flow in the open channel F is equal to Q square by ZA plus A into Z bar. This is the specific force concept in the open channel water flow. Dear students, if anybody is having doubts about this specific force in open channel water flow, please ask me the questions. If anyone of you having doubts about this specific force of water flow in open channels, please ask me the doubts. Any doubt, students, about this specific force in open channels